Shalom, 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 man. Getting on here late again. Another Think About It Thursday. Hope you guys had a good day. Hope you guys' week is going decent so far. You see the title, America Voting, the Truth About Black People. We're going to get into all of these topics that are in the title. Got two clips I want to play. And after that, just a few scriptures. We got to go into the text. Just a few scriptures to go into to get some wisdom to think about. But with that, you know what I'm saying? I am your brother Azrael, alongside the brother Denal, right? We want to give all glory, honor, praise, and worship to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation. And the nation is Israel, right? So we're going to get into it, man. We're going to talk a little bit about America and its state of being. We're going to talk about voting. We all get some wisdom on voting and some direction. And also, we're going to talk about the truth of Black people. It's a twist on that, though, right? But we'll get into it. I got two clips I want to play that's going to cause us to jump right into these topics, right? The first one I want to play is this, right? I don't know if y'all watched this before. Y'all might have seen clips or highlights, or y'all might have seen it on your story and kept on scrolling. But however, this is where Joe Biden sat down and did a 60 minute 60 minute. I don't know if is that on CNN or Fox, or what is 60 Minutes on? I don't remember. But he did one of those.
I think it's CNN.
Yeah, he sat down and did one of them 60-minute interviews. Just want to play a little clip of something he said, man, because the brother Hezekiah on his new album, he dropped a soundbite of Joe Biden saying this while I was running. I was listening to it, and I said, man, the audacity, right? The courage, the pride, right? The arrogance, right? Of the so-called president of the United States, the free world, to say something like this, right? And he's not necessarily false in what he's going to say, but that's definitely not the state of America right now.
Are the wars in Israel and Ukraine more than the United States can take on at the same time?
We're the United States of America, for God's sake. The most powerful nation in the history, not the world, in the history of the world. The history of the world. We can take care of both of these and still maintain our overall international defense.
Are the wars in...
Right? He says that we are the most powerful nation in the history of the world, right? He said, for God's sakes, right? He said we're the most powerful nation in the history of the world. That's a statement to be made, especially in times like this, right? He's pretty much claiming we're not afraid of nobody. But what we do know is that Joe, he don't really mean that, but he has to say that to keep the morale of the people up, to keep the faith of the people up, right? He can't go on 60-minute interview and tell other nations that we're begging people to join the forces, to join our military. We can't go on and say we're giving all these incentives and we're nobody wants to volunteer to join no more, so we have to make things mandatory. We can't go on 60 minutes and have the whole world hear that, because for so long we were a nation full of pride, a nation that would come to its own rescue, whose people were willing to live and die, red, white, and blue, right? We didn't have to act as all these other countries around us where we mandated people to join the military, or or like they have to do it to gain citizenship and all that. We wasn't like that country. We wasn't like those countries, right? We making immigrants join our military now. right, to obtain citizenship. We wasn't that country, right? Once upon a time, we were the most fierce, powerful nation on the earth, where we just had volunteers ready to live and die for what we believe in here in America, right? But it's not so no more. Right? I want to read this real quick. The book of Isaiah, chapter 13. I want to skip down to my favorite verse, verse 11. Isaiah 13 and verse 11. Won't be before y'all long today, right? Just got a couple of verses, quick clips.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse number 11. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
Right. If I was to break this down, I would say he's going to punish the world for their evil. Right. I think this word world here is, manifold. We could go into the Strongs and get the Hebrew and all that. But if I was to break it down, right, the spirit and meat was to break it down, I would say that this world is manifold in the aspect of the world of Israel and the evil deeds of the Israelites here in the Americas, right? He's got to punish our world for that, right? So some of us ain't going to make it up out of America. Some of us is stiff-hearted. Some of us is ignorant. Some of us just don't care about anything but ourselves and our life and our money, right? Some of us just want to live our lifestyle, right? Whether that be immoral or whether that be criminal, right? He got to punish our world, and he also has to punish the world of Babylon. He got to punish this society and this government here that has took advantage of the children of Israel, right? That have scattered us abroad, that has dealt with us as we know how they dealt with the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? The Most High has to punish the world for their evil. It says, and the wicked for their iniquity. And he said, I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. What you saw in that 60-minute interview clip was arrogance and a proud tongue, right? He's going to cause all that to cease. When you see somebody speaking that boldly, right, for the world to hear, right? The Most High don't like people that are proud, man. And also, too, when you don't give the honor to the Most High God, just like when Moses hit the rock, right? He didn't command Moses to hit the rock. He told Moses to speak. He didn't say do all that, right? So when you start taking credit for things that are the Most High's, hey, he's coming to bring it to naught. He's bringing it down low, right? When you want to make it seem like you were the one that was in charge, right? That's blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, really, right? When you want to take it to even in the New Testament, when you have Bar Jesus, right, or the one dude, I think his name was Simon or Simeon, right? When we see these guys that just wanted the Spirit for their own vain reasons, right? They want to X God out of it. Right? That's the whole thing. The arrogance and the proud, it's coming to a halt when you don't bring up the Most High God. It says, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible, right? The haughtiness is what we have here in America. When you talk to the average American here, right, we don't think anything can happen to us. We think that things are so far off. You talk to your average friend from high school or elementary school or your average family member, they live in their life. They planning vacations. They not thinking about living in a third world country, right? And even if there's rumors of us being in a third world country, they don't believe it, right? They can't fathom it happening, right? And don't get it twisted, man. We got the Olympics going on, which I watched a few good lessons today, man. We're not even supposed to be watching the Olympics. First of all, Nike is evil. Nike don't want us to know our nationality. Y'all see what they're doing with Jaylen Brown and what they're doing with Kyrie, right? So why would we continue to support Nike, right? But also the Olympics, man, when you see the Olympics and all those rings, right? That's all of these nations coming together, banding together, literally, right, to serve the Greek culture. We see that in the book of Maccabees, man. We see that the origin of the Olympics, man, was never nothing holy, right? So when you see the gay or the transgender or the drag queens up there doing the Last Supper, don't get mad, right? Because hey, I mean, that's what the Olympics platform is for. I know you want to watch it, enjoy your sports, and that LGBTQ community Last Supper kind of ruined your taste for a little while you was trying to enjoy your basketball and see King James. But if we being honest, we're not supposed to be watching it anyway, right? Yeah. So with all that going on, you know, the elections, you know, different all the candidates with Kamala and everything, all that stuff is going on. But let's not forget that the goal is still to be self-sufficient. The goal is to be self-sufficient. What do I mean by that? Right? When COVID happened, right? When people was in their house for long periods of time, I want you guys to understand that a famine can still happen and probably will happen. And if we do go to war in that sense and a famine comes, you're going to need your own property. You're going to need people that you can trust. You're going to need fruits and vegetables that you have already been growing, not trying to just start from the seed. You're going to need water. You're going to need all these essential things to keep your family in good health and good spirits. If not, it's going to be rough. So don't get caught up in the emotions and don't get caught up in everything that's going on to distract you. Like, we're living in a time where we're supposed to be preparing, man. Because if not, you're gonna feel the effects, right? Shalom to the brother Yash. You're gonna feel
Shalom.
right. You're gonna feel the effects, man. Right? I rent my house. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say when crap hits the fan, whoever I'm renting from don't come to my front door and say, "Hey, get out." Who's to say? Who's to say? So the thing about it is we have to, even though with all these distractions, the routine of life, even with all the cares of life, all these things are going on to make you forget that we still need to be preparing ourselves, because the things that he's going to do in the land of the Chaldees and Babylon and America the Great, Babylon the Great, the things he's going to do, we're going to need to be prepared, because if not, we are going to suffer. We're going to be, right? And I was thinking about this on my fast today, and I don't say my fast to be proud of it, right? I pray all of you guys are fasting throughout your weeks too. But on my fast today, when I was literally hungry, I'm thinking to myself, man, what? I've lost track of the goal. The goal is to be self-sufficient, right? And some of us, you know, we make the excuse like, you know, I'm gonna just wait for my wife to get right on the garden. But if you able-bodied too, how about you go in the backyard? How about you go on the side of the house? How about you start trying to grow something, right? How about you when you go to the grocery store? How about you you pay, because hey, look, packs of water aren't expensive. How about you put a pack of water in the grocery cart so you can stash it away, right? We got to learn to be self-sufficient, because what he's gonna do is bring the lowness. He's gonna bring the haughtiness of the terrible people low, right? It was a little intermission, but it's something we need to think about, because I know nobody's thinking about that right now. People only think about that when the pandemic comes. Then a couple of months after the pandemic, you're thinking about it. But after that, everybody going back to their regular scheduled program. And then when crap hit the fan, you got nothing in your path. You know nobody, you got nobody, you got nothing, right? Right. So that brings us to the question of let's see. I want to go here real quick. Jeremiah 50 and right. Let's start at verse 22. Because if I'm not mistaken, I didn't do no research on this, but I was watching a video. Shout out to the deacon over there at Genesis. But he informed everybody on his channel that they killed I think like second in command over there at Hamas. And Hamas is saying, hey, it's only up from here, right? So it's only right to read this, right? Jeremiah 15:22.
Jeremiah 50 and 22. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction.
Right? There's a sound of battle in the land. This stuff can get real, man. Stuff can get real. I know we penny pinching. I know we oppressed. I know you trying to figure out life, but guess what? We got to be prudent and try to hide ourselves from evil, man. We got to start thinking about how we can prepare ourselves for that thief in the night, right? Because it's coming, right? And don't get me wrong, you know, faith can take you a long way. You could have nothing and the Most High lead you into a pile of treasure, right? So don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, a prudent man or a prudent woman will foresee the evil coming, right? Let's read verse 23. I want to read this because as we saw in the clip, I'll just play it real quick because it was a short clip. We saw what Joe said.
Israel and Ukraine, more than the United States can take on at the same time.
We're the United States of America, for God's sake. The most powerful nation in the history, not in the world, in the history of the world. The history of the world. We can take care of both of these and still maintain our overall international defense.
Are the wars
right? In the history of the world. But we're not the same no more. That's what Joe is not telling the people. We're not the same no more. Right? Let me read the comments. It says, this is coming from a guy who can't even go upstairs. We used to be able to, not with Biden. God help us get him out. Stop all of this. Right? Says the man who never served a day in the military. And keep in mind, I want you guys to notice something. These comments are from American citizens. These ain't from other countries. Your own president has his people in the comments saying stuff like this about their country, letting you know they do not agree with the statements that were just made. We are not the strongest nation in the world right now, right? Oh my gosh, he's out of his mind. Just look what has happened in this country since he's been in control, right? And that brings me to this before we read that, right? I want to go to Isaiah chapter 30. We always read this. It's a banger because it's literally some prophecy that we could see right before our eyes, right? Start at verse 1, Isaiah 30 and 1.
Isaiah 30 and verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me.
Right?
And that
rebellious children, spoiler alert, that's us, the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We're the only ones that he calling children. Everybody else, they get called a stranger, they get called a heathen, they get called a Gentile. They don't get called his children, right? We get the honor of being called his children, but here he calls us rebellious children, right? We take counsel of TikTok. We take counsel of podcasts. We take counsel of news coverages. We take counsel of the people that oppress us, like they're going to tell us the truth. We take counsel from rappers, strippers, dancers, singers, and Indian women in Atlanta. That's who we take counsel of, but not of the Most High God, right? When we was at camp, talked to an elder, right? Maybe been late 50s, early 60s, right? But you know, he might have been older than that. You know, black don't crack. And the brother, he said he had to vote for cultural reasons. He claimed that the Most High is the answer to everything, and he don't got to worry about the candidates. But then he said he got to vote because voting affects his money, his promotion, his kids, his kids' schools. So, you know, he was playing the fence. He wasn't taking counsel of the Most High God. He didn't give not one scripture for why he was voting, right? Because he's taking counsel of what he's hearing. And what they pushing in the media is to scare you and to drive you in a certain way, right? That's literally how you herd sheep. You have a rod of correction. That's scary. And you herd the sheep into a fence or into a direction, right? And that's what they do with our people. They have a rod of correction. If you go against this rod, you're going to get whipped. You're going to get hit. It's going to hurt. If you go against this narrative, and they scare us into a direction because we're sheep, man. And we take that counsel. It says, and that cover with the covering, right? That covering that we covering with is that if we keep reading, it says, but not of my spirit. It's not of the Most High God's spirit, right? Our covering is what? Is they add sin to sin, right? That's what it say. Our covering is sin, right? Just like Adam and Eve in the wilderness, they bit of that fruit, and now they trying to cover up with little leaves and stuff. They trying to cover their sin. And we've bitten that fruit too. And that's why we say, you know, when we was in Egypt, we had fish. When we was in Egypt, we had good onions. We had bread. When we was in Egypt, we was fine because we ate of that apple. We was forbidden fruit, right? That we wasn't supposed to eat. And now we comfortable, right? Read verse 2 for me.
Verse 2. Well, you want me to finish verse 1?
I just did. My bad.
That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth.
Right. A lot of us, we walk to go down into them polls. We walk to go down to them ballots. We walk to go down to them rallies and to them debates, right? To try to ask the president, you said this. What do you plan on to do for this? What's going on with this? Right? We walk to go down to Egypt and we have not asked at his mouth. We ask at all of these politicians' mouths, right? Keep reading.
And to add to that too, man, nobody asked the Most High if he wanted us to go and vote. Nobody asked the Most High if he wanted us to get into politics in this land that's not ours. We didn't ask him that. And the people that claim that they did, right, the voice that you heard was not the Most High, right? Because he's not going to go contrary to what his word says. That's how we validate everything. And if you were to read his word, and we go through it all the time, we tell people all the time, his word does not promote voting in this system. His word does not promote justifying the wicked at any cost, not because it's the lesser of the two evils, right? He doesn't want you to vote for any evil, right? And so when it's literally in this verse, when it says they have not asked at his mouth, we know his mouth is in his word, right? And his word, most of everybody got a copy of it, right? And if you think for 1 second that he's telling you to go vote, you're sadly mistaken, and you're listening to somebody else's word or somebody else's mouth, and not the mouth of the Most High. But go
ahead.
It says to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Right. And a lot of our people, what we're doing is trusting in the shadow of this place, the stuff that happened before, the stuff that happened behind. A shadow happens behind the scene. We trusting in the stuff that happened behind in the past. We're not looking what's in front of our eyes anymore. And that's why we see so many people confused. Well, we just wanted to get Trump out of office. We didn't think it was going to be this bad. And, you know, salute to those that can admit that they're wrong. But the majority of our people, they don't even want to admit that they was wrong in that. Right. And the same thing's going to happen now with this Kamala chick, you know, vice president elect, Kamala Harris, however you want to say it. It's probably pronounced similar to Kabbalah because she's Indian. Right. And my thing is this, you know, the Bible tells us if we're going to put anybody over us, it needs to be it needs to be one of your brethren. She's not of us. She's not same. Just because this is why we tell people all the time, all skin folk ain't kin folk, right? We can't expect her to want to love us and pander to us and respect us and not stereotype us because she's not us, right? She would, if this was an Asian lady, which she is half Asian, if this was a Chinese lady or somebody, she'd be treating us the same way, right? They just see us as a vote, man. They just see us as a ticket. That's all, right? But I say all that to say, man, we strengthen ourselves in these people in the shadow of this system. Our ancestors fought for this. No, they fought to have a voice, right? And our voices are still not being heard. So I think they would have tried to find something else to fight for if they were living today, not to keep voting in an endless cycle, right? Just to be confused at the end because what we thought was right didn't happen, right? Read verse 3.
Verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion.
And that's all that's happening right now, man. People, their trust has been turned into confusion, right? They trusted in a system that was, pushed on them to be self-sufficient and work because they really believe, like the man we talked to during the Sabbath, that we're in a democracy and that our vote is our voice and our vote counts and that America wants to listen. Hey, look, if we're supposed to be the most powerful nation in the world, we print the world's money. We make everybody speak English. We are the place everybody wants to. Why do you think that they're gonna put the power of this place and the leadership of this place in the hands of the people? I don't care if you don't think we're in a dictatorship. I don't care if you don't. We do not call the shots as the people here in America. They just give us the illusion. They're nice enough to let us feel good about thinking we play a part, unlike some of these other nations that just shut it down altogether, right? But we're no different from these other nations. We don't call no shots here as people, right? Hella fake. A broken clock is right twice a day. Most powerful in the history of the world, LOL, right? I'm led to believe, I don't think we're more powerful than Babylon. Well, the first Babylon, the mother of Babylon. I don't think we're powerful than the Assyrians. I don't think we were more powerful than the Greeks. They had armies with elephants. I don't think we were more powerful than a lot of these. So that's a brave statement for him to look, no, the F we can't. It says we here, right? Right? Letting you know this is us that's saying this stuff. The people can see it, right? What a clown. The world is falling apart under this corrupt dictator. So some people understand that we're not in no democracy, right? Let's go to Jeremiah 50, right? Back to Jeremiah 50 and 23. If you could read this.
Book of Jeremiah 50 and 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken?
Right? Cut asunder means cut in half, right? A lot of people like that scripture that says what therefore God put together, let not man cut asunder or bring asunder or whatever it says, right? Paraphrasing. That just means to cut in half. What God put together, let not man tear in half, right? How is the hammer of the whole earth, right? The hammer is, brings the power. When you bring out that hammer and it strikes something, right? The vibrations go through whatever you strike. So the hammer of the whole earth, that lets you know, hey, we the hammer. Also, we're the judge of the whole earth. People always come to America to sit down in politics, even if they're having a beef, right? We shouldn't be in there with Ukraine and with Russia. We shouldn't be in there with Taiwan and what is it, North Korea. We shouldn't be in the midst of these things, right? But somehow they allow us to come and give our input because we're the hammer of the earth, right? What does a judge use in a court, right? A judge uses a gavel. And what is a gavel, man? A gavel is nothing but a hammer, right? Gavel is rent or tribute in medieval England. How to use a gavel in a sentence. A gavel is a small ceremonial mallet, commonly made of hard wood, typically fashioned with a handle. It can be used to call for attention or to punctuate. right? What is a mallet, right? I don't know why they don't just say it. It's a hammer, right? What is a mallet? Right, this is what a mallet looks like, man. You got your rubber mallets, you got your steel mallets, your wooden mallets. A mallet is a tool used for imparting force on another object, right? And that's what the hammer of the earth is. We impart our force on all these other countries, often made of rubber or sometimes wood that is smaller than a maul or beetle, right? So when it says we are the hammer of the whole earth, right? This is what it means. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken, right? Keep reading on that.
How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations?
Right? Babylon has become a desolation. That's a future prophecy, right? That's why I say, look, we got to get right. That's why I say, look, we got to become self-sufficient. You got to know the right people to be around. You got to know who got land, who don't got land, who got this that we can barter and we could trade, who got generators, who got tents, who got the stuff we need to survive a famine, right? I know a lot of people that, joining a big congregation is not going to save you, right? Joining an organization is not going to save you, man. You have to be genuine in this truth and have great faith and be prepared, right, for things to come, right? I know me and brothers always talk all the time about dreams that we have, right? I've been having dreams, and I don't know if the Most High is warning me or something personal or if it's something national, right? But I've been having these dreams of somebody breaking in the house or about to break in the house. I hear a doorknob open or hear a door creak, and I get up and I'm saying I'm loaded now. If you listening to this, I'm loaded, right? And I have watched my fair share of apocalyptic movies, and I've watched Denzel. I've watched some of these guys, So you come in my house, I'm gonna try not to aim for your back because I know how that go. But anyway, I've been having these dreams, man, and I'll walk around and ain't nobody there, and I think the Most High is telling me, hey, look, as a thief in the night, somebody finna get crept up on. Something's finna happen out of the clear blue. The world not prepared for it, right? Are you prepared for it? Babylon is going to become a desolation among the nations, right? I want to come back to this chapter, read something that is said earlier. This whole chapter is really a banger, but right. It's all a banger. I want to read we'll start at verse 6. We'll read 6 through 9, right?
Jeremiah 50 and verse 6, my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place.
A lot of us, we don't look to the land, man. We don't look to the future. We don't look to peace no more, man. Because we think we got peace, but we got a counterfeit, false, phony, faux peace, man. We think we got our resting place when we got a good career, when we retire, when we got our family compound over. This ain't our resting place, right? And the reason why we think that is because of our shepherds, man. Our shepherds have caused us to go astray. Right? Our shepherds have caused us to go astray. Right? Let's read verse 7.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, in verse 7. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, we offended not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers.
Right? All these Indians, these Asians, these so-called white people, these everybody, man, they don't feel bad for what they do to us because they know that we killing ourselves. So what's the difference if they kill us? Right? That's why they have no guilt about it. Right? We see that every day. Right? And also when you read in the book of Judith, when the Edomite is giving counsel to the Assyrian, right? What did he say? Hey, if they keep in God's laws, let us turn away. But if they are in sin, then the Most High gonna forsake them. Paraphrasing. Right. So these nations know how we're a spiritual people and how to disconnect us from our protection. Right. Verse 8.
Verse 8, remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans and be as the goats before the flocks.
And be as the he goats before the
He
flocks.
goats.
Right? And so the thing about this is we got to come out of this system. We got to come out of these distractions. We got to come out of the like we always say, the only way to beat the system is to come out of it. When you remove out of the midst of Babylon, that means you stop voting for this madness, this craziness. That means you stop trying to live a life. You stop trying to get that penthouse suite in the middle of the city. Stop trying to get the most expensive car. Stop trying to have all the women in the world. Stop trying to spend hundreds, thousands a month on your hair and your nails. Come out of the midst of Babylon. Stop trying to make it in politics and all. Come out the system of Babylon, right? When you look at the Maccabees, even when you look at the disciples, they came out of Rome and they made their own cities and they took up a free will offering amongst themselves. You could read about this, right? And they were self-sufficient that way, right? We got to come out of the land and come out of the system, right? Let's read verse 9.
Verse number 9.
And I know it sounds crazy because, I'm not even in no position to act on some of this stuff I'm saying. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds impossible. Sometimes I got to tell myself that it is possible. I was on the phone with an Israelite brother the other day when I went on a walk, and he was just encouraging me and saying, bro, it's possible, right? Because, sometimes people from the outside looking in, they could see some stuff in you that you don't see in yourself, or that, you could tell them a vision that you had and that you hope to do. And deep down inside, you may not think that vision can come true, but somebody else looking on the outside, looking at you, they could be like, nah, bro, you can definitely do that. I could see you and the people around you definitely do that, right? So it sounds impossible sometimes, but you got to understand, man, the Most High he can do anything with his people. He could take a shepherd boy to a king, right? Read verse 9.
Verse number 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of the mighty expert man. None shall return in vain.
Right? She shall be taken. And I'm here to say that we're already taken, man. We're already infiltrated. There's already people over here. We've already been taken out from the inside, right? When you watch a lot of these medieval time movies, these Viking shows, a lot of these great empires, the only way you can defeat a lot of these empires was from the inside out. There was always inside men. And I'm here to let you know we have inside men among us today, at drive-thrus, at grocery stores, at your job, right? In the military. They're already here, and we've been taken, right? Now, before we close out, I want to touch on what I said earlier, the truth about Black people. Now, Candace Owens, if you guys know Candace Owens, she made a video. I'm not going to go over that video. I got another little clip, but she made a video pretty much acknowledging that the Jewish man, the so-called Jewish man, and the so-called ADL are lying and they're not the real Jews. And she also was open to the idea of us being the real Jews. And she goes into Kyrie Irving and how they did him and how it was just didn't make any sense for the average American that has common sense to think why they blew it out of proportion, right? And yeah, you can watch that on your own time. But that is to say, if there's going to be any ruler over our people, that ruler is going to be speaking the truth, not half truths, not half promises. That speaker is going to be speaking the truth, right? And I want to say this: you don't have to vote for anybody that's not in your nation. If the Most High is going to have somebody outside of your nation over you, He's just going to put them over you, right? We see that with Babylon. We see that with all the captivities we went to, right? The Persians and the Medes, and He'll put that person over you, and that person will, he'll use that person for His purpose, right? And that person, right, will be kind of like King Cyrus, right? I want to read this, Isaiah 45. Now, a lot of people read Isaiah 45 when they want to talk about the Israelites, right? But when you read Isaiah 45, it's really about King Cyrus. It's not really about us. It touches on us because he's comparing how special we are and how unspecial King Cyrus is, but he's nonetheless saying that he's going to use King Cyrus for his purpose, regardless of how unspecial he is, right? We get the context at the end of Isaiah 44, right? So let's read Isaiah 44. Let's read Isaiah 44. Verse 20, starting at verse 27. Isaiah 44, starting at verse 27.
Verse 27, that saith to the deep, be dry, and I will dry up the rivers.
Right. Paraphrasing, he dried us up. As a nation, he dried us up, right? Even those rivers today are dried up, right? Verse 28.
That saith of Cyrus, he is my shepherd and shall perform all my pleasure. Even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built into the temple, thy foundation shall be laid.
Right. So if he is going to put somebody over us, we'll know it because that person is going to be speaking the truth, and that person is going to declare great things amongst our people. We have yet to see anything like that, right? I'm not talking about Trump. A lot of y'all, y'all jumping on Trump bandwagon, right? Trump is still not declaring who we are as a people, and he's not causing us to build our nation back up. He's just making business moves, right? But read Isaiah 45:1 real quick.
Isaiah 45:1, thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right and I have holden.
So his anointed Cyrus, sometimes he do anoint some of these other people, and we have not seen nobody that's been anointed. I don't care what all these other Christians and their takes on voting and Kamala and Trump, they aren't the anointed. Trust me, right? We could look at their actions and how they feel towards us. These people weren't trying to use us. Cyrus wasn't trying to use us. Cyrus was moved. That's how we could tell he was anointed. And we didn't vote for Cyrus. The disciples didn't vote for Pilate, right? Christ didn't vote for Pilate, even though Pilate didn't want to take out Christ. We didn't vote for these people. If God gonna put them over you, he gonna put them over you, right? Right? Read this. Keep reading.
And Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings to open before him the two leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut.
Right.
I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass and cut asunder the bars of iron.
Right.
Verse number 3, and I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, the Lord, which called thee by name, am the God of Israel.
Right. So he's pretty much telling Cyrus, hey, look, I'm going to make this easy for you. And you're going to know I'm the God of these people that I want you to do all this stuff for. Why? And he's going to tell you why he's going to have him do all this in verse 4.
For Jacob, my servant's sake, and Israel,
right? I'm having you do this for Jacob, my servant's sake, and Israel, mine elect. Right? Keep going.
I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me.
Right. He surnamed Cyrus as his anointed, even though Cyrus did not know him. Cyrus's people, Cyrus didn't make no covenant with the Most High God, but he's still going to use him. Right. Verse 5.
I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God besides me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me.
He made Cyrus king, even though he never knew God, meaning God has the power to do all these things. God is putting people on thrones, right? But nonetheless, though, so if we did have somebody come and reign over us, and they'll never put nobody over us like this, but I thought that this so-called white man, pastor, I thought the words that he said, if only our oppressors would admit this and put us back in our place, right? Would the world be a better place? But we know that's not going to happen. We know that'll only happen in the end when Christ comes back. But nonetheless, what this pastor said, I thought was very, it was true. It was the truth, right? And it's really like if we're gonna vote for anybody, and like we said, we don't describe for vote. If you're gonna vote for anybody, they need to be saying something like this. And if they're not saying something like this, you shouldn't be voting. And I speak as a man when I say that, but thou sayest it.
Now, let me say something right quick. I think back on the African American people in America. I think how they were taken against their wills, put in the belly of ships, brought over here, beat, cussed. Many of them died in the guts of those ships, thrown overboard. They were pulled from families over there. You ain't never heard a gut-wrenching song. You hear a black person sing one of those old black Negro spirituals. Nobody knows. I can't sing it like that, see?
Hey, black Negro spiritual. That's that Southern white boy coming out, that man. You feel me? But nonetheless, though, keep listening.
I hadn't experienced what they be. When you've experienced hell, it comes out of the voice. I said,
he agreeing with you Israelites that hell is a place. It's not a place. Hell is a state. He's saying that we've been there, right? He's saying it to a white audience, some of which is their last time coming after this sermon.
You experience hell, it comes out of the voice. If you're one of those people that you got problem with black people or whatever, you better shut your mouth, because they're God's people. You better hear what I'm saying to you. You better shut your white mouth.
Is Trump saying that? Is Kamala saying that? Is Joe saying that? Nah, them people ain't saying that. And if this man got the balls to say it on TV and in front of his white audience, I know for a fact they know the truth too. This is common sense. And if they're not saying that, you shouldn't be casting no vote for nobody like that, because they're going to just continue to oppress your people.
You better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you was raised in the deep South and you was raised by prejudiced people and bigoted people. You better get that out of your system. You better get it out of your system.
Christ said you better get down and lay down. Out of the I believe the Spirit is speaking through this man right now, and he prophesying. You better get it out your system.
Cause you to suffer right along with those masters. It'll cause you to suffer right along with them.
What? So he letting you know them masters gonna be tormented in the lake.
These are God's people. And I know that there's wicked in white races and wicked in black races and all that. I'm not justifying none of that stuff. I'm just saying God knows what happened to the black race. He knows how they wound up over here. And God is going to reimburse the black people for all their trouble and all their labor.
That's the gospel. That's the true gospel. For you brothers and sisters that are talking to somebody of another nation, they want to ask your opinion on what the gospel is. You go to Isaiah, you go to Luke, you read them the gospel, and then you play this clip for them and say, do you agree? Because we the only ones that need saving. We the only one that need that repayment. We the only ones that need help from God.
What I tell you? Watch what I tell you. Curse the black people for all their trouble and all their labor. You watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. Listen.
And look, that audience, they didn't really want to clap. They just clapping to be politically correct. But Nonetheless, yo, Shalom, brother. The thief in the night is coming, Khan.
Back in 2022, I lost
but
two
with that,
very
you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna wrap it up, man. Just think about it Thursday, giving y'all
until
something.
February of this year. That
Slakia. Just think about it Thursday, man. Giving y'all something to think about on this Thursday. Get your mind right, man. You know what I'm saying? We're living in them times. Time's almost up. This is not our resting place, right? And if you're not gathering, you scattering, right? So continue to preach the gospel and win people for Christ. Y'all brothers got anything to say?
I'm gonna just say, man, I had a conversation similar to this whole lesson earlier this morning into the afternoon, talking to a former church lady I used to go to church with back in my church going days, and we was talking about voting, because I shared a video on Kamala Harris and everything, and she was telling me that she got to choose the lesser between two evils, and then we started going into talking about how the voting system is set up to make people feel like they're being included in the selection of the president, but they're not really. And she agreed with everything I said after the fact. So then I asked her a question. I said, well, if you agree with me, then why still participate? If you agree it's an illusion, if you agree it's not necessarily genuine inclusion, then what's keeping you from doing the other option that you have instead of choosing the lesser of two evils and don't vote at all? If God is truly in control, then why you feel like you got to pick a president to help dictate certain things that's going to go on? Because like the brother was saying towards the end is that, man, people got to understand that all it is that when you realize that you vote, a lot of times you're not realizing that you truly don't have ultimate trust in the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? You may say you do, but you can't, and at the same time believe that there's somebody that's going to be in office that's going to do things for you on your behalf. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was just similar to this lesson. So a mighty lesson, man. It just brought me back. But hey, at the end of the day, repent, man. Keep the commandments, and you won't find yourself stressing out about things that you can't control.
Man, it's funny, man, because I seen a post on Facebook, man, and it's this girl, man. She's gonna be voting Democrat, and she posted something. She said the Bible says this about Donald Trump. It says that those that take the mark of the beast will take it in their forehead, blah 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 blah, and then put a picture of the MAGA hat, right? Pretty much saying that that's Trump's mark that everybody's putting on their forehead, right? And saying she's going to be voting for Democrats because of X, Y, and Z. I'm like this. The Bible also says not to justify the wicked. The Bible also says not to condone homosexuality, but that's what you're voting for. So you can use the Bible to condemn one side, but you can't see how you're contradicting the Bible on your side. And so, I mean, that's again another angle, to look at it, as we say, man, we don't vote for the lesser of two evils. We don't vote at all, right? And just knowing that we have the trust that the Most High is going to orchestrate everything anyway, and the government is going to be the government no matter what, right? They're going to have whoever they want to have in the office at the end of the day, and there's nothing we can do about it. But that's just,
But Colin, man, like the brother said, man, you know what I'm saying? The mark, man, is physical and spiritual, I believe. And a lot of us took it in the mind already. And we do things that we know are wrong. And that's the only explanation for it, is that you took that mark. So I want to say that there's hope for you, but only the Most High God knows, man. Let's stay diligent and let's be aware of our actions, right? Because faith and works will prevail. But Shalom.